Well, welcome everyone to another week of our City of Mist campaign, the Reaper Soldiers. I am very happy to be back with our familiar faces. We are joined once again with Spoon, BP, Oz, and Maru, all playing their characters William, Blanche, Eric, and Georgie. The last time we had seen our group, they were at the Golden Oasis. Blanche had dove a bit too deep inside a vision and needed a bit of help to get out. They were able to successfully get her out of the dream and out of the Golden Oasis without too much hassle. Once out of the Oasis, they decided to investigate the address that they were able to locate on the ID found within the wallet of the that had been located in the cistern of the western slums. There, they learned a bit about Nadiv, the fact that he was married, and he was there a few weeks ago, but hasn't been seen for a few weeks since. They were able to locate the house of Nadiv Fredman, and with a very little hassle, Eric was able to release the lock and allow them entry. Unfortunately, it was a very grisly scene inside as the wife of Nadiv was found dead on the bed. They investigated the house and were able to locate a few clues. In fact, we saw one of our first Stop Holding Back rolls in which Blanche spoke to the dead for the first time, where she unfortunately had to experience the trauma of the grisly event that occurred to Nadiv's wife. She noticed that Nadiv did not seem to be himself when he attacked, and that when he left, he seemed to flee out past the fields behind the ethnic burrow and headed into the woods far beyond. They also located a suitcase down below the bed that was full of money, lots and lots of money that apparently Nadiv had won fighting. They located a name and address of someone else also with a barter or a wage listed on it, apparently for a future fight or a fight that had occurred within the past few weeks. And they had found a flyer to a bar in downtown called Irony. They left the scene, kind of went on their way, and all decided to go home. And that is kind of where we start today. It is now Sunday. And we're going to kind of bounce around and see what everybody's up to. But we'll start off with Blanche. You kind of have a pretty big event going on today. So you've spent some time throughout the week making sure everything is prepared for today's event. The party is supposed to start sometime in the middle of the afternoon, but you would expect those that are coming to create the meals or decorate or any kind of band or anything like that you might have hired to be arriving shortly. You've noticed your brother has been pretty active as well, making sure that everything's in order, organizing some things, making sure certain doors and rooms are locked in and kind of boarded so that no one might gain entry. He's cleared out the front kind of parlor room so that all of the seating arrangement has been pushed over kind of to the side, almost like a theater, and has placed a large white sheet kind of up against the far wall. In that room, he's darkened all of the windows as well, and there's only a single lantern that's kind of glowing within the middle, just to allow a little bit of light in the room, but he's tried to keep it as dark as possible. What would we find Blanche doing in the morning as she prepares to make sure all the servants are ready or prepares for the guests? What would you be up to?
I mean, first thing in the morning would be mostly, kind of working with the servants to make any last minute arrangements and adjustments, decisions that weren't made earlier in the week. Probably doing flower arrangements personally, or at least dictating what they should look like. Because I imagine she's going to bring most of the flowers in from the garden, from her garden. just making sure that things are arranged the way that they should be, and that everything is in order. I mean, she was kind of put in charge of putting this whole big thing together with minimal time to get it ready. So she's hyper focused on making sure that everything is done the way that she knows her brother would want it. Yeah, and once she's sure that everything is going to be good, then she'd go and get changed and whatnot in the best of her best clothes.
Do you have anyone that comes over to help you with your hair or anything like that? Or is it something that, for the past few years that you've been alone, you've become fairly talented to make your hair look exactly how you would want it to make yourself as upper class and dignified as you possibly can?
And I think I probably have a personal maid that deals with most of that stuff for me, helps me through that whole process. The corset alone requires 2 people, so.
And what would your outfit be like today? What would a high scale party going outfit, unfamiliar to what we normally see Blanche appear in?
It would be made of the absolute finest fabrics. Probably lots of velvet. That was kind of a big thing then, velvet and silks. The full bustled look. Itty bitty corseted waist, hair is up. Probably not a hat, because she's not really going to be spending that much time outside. But like one of those like feathered headpieces that Victorian women wore a lot. That kind of thing. I was not prepared for this much detail.
So your brother had. Your brother actually stops by just as you're finishing up, and kind of knocks on your door. Blanche, are you? Can I come in? He walks in and he's holding a small list. I have the lists of our guests today. Wanted to provide you so you can review it. We have a very important. A very important guest. Sir James Ratkin will be joining us today. I don't know if you remember. He had come to one of Father's parties. You were probably maybe 6 years old. Silly man, he was. Peculiar in structure and He's very obese, you understand? We weren't for sure knowing if he was going to be arriving today or not, and I just received word that he will be coming. We're gonna probably need some more food. Would you be able to send some of the servants out? He really prefers pastries, the sweets, anything, and probably set aside a quite large quantity just for him. Think you can get that done for me? Probably pretty rapidly as well.
I'm sure it can be arranged, yes.
Oh, very, very good, very good. Yes, he will, he kind of finally notices you and all done up. Wow,
How do I look?
Stunning. Absolutely. You look just like her, Yes, this will do just well indeed.
All right, I'll send someone out for the extra food.
Very good, very good. The Hogans should be arriving fairly soon to set up. So I'm gonna go make sure to be ready for them. This is gonna be a great day, sister. A great day indeed. I'm excited. can't wait. He kind of turns and doesn't seem to notice exactly where he's going as he bumps into kind of the doorway on the side. It holds his elbow and shakes it off and just kind of walks down the hall, his mind seeming to go in a few different directions. Your personal servant kind of works to fluff out, your collar, make sure everything's just right, and goes to help you, out of the door and out and away.
First thing, as soon as I get downstairs, would be to find, I get probably one of the maids from the kitchens, somebody who typically knows how much food we have and what we're serving, and tell her to have our driver take her and the cart into the city and gather up as many pastries that fall in line with what we've already got. We don't want it to be obvious that we've made last minute purchases,
She goes, she nods her head and she kind of looks up. Miss Astor, it is Sunday. It might be difficult to find too many places that open, but I will certainly try.
That's why the drive is taking you, so that you can cover as much ground as possible.
Absolutely. I will return as soon as I can.
Good. Thank you.
So as we follow the servant out to the back to speak with the driver, and the driver begins to pull away, we transition kind of over the city and into the ethnic borough, where we find the Wessler family gathering together. Are you a religious family? Would you be gathering for church, or is it more gathering for a meal, kind of a family meal?
No, pretty religious. I mean, not like super, but yeah, probably for church, yeah.
So at the moment, you're all kind of dressed in your family best, but you're doing a quick prayer around your father, who's still laying in bed, the bandage covering wrapped around his head. You've noticed over the night it has darkened a bit, and your mother doesn't appear to have slept. She appears to be quite hesitant to leave his side, and your brother Martin is in the process of just offering a small prayer before you leave. Your sister's standing there and she's holding your hand very, very tight. She hasn't really left your side much at all, with you kind of filling a role while Martin is your older brother, correct?
Yeah.
You seem to take the leadership role when your father's not there. Why is that?
Martin is not dumb, but he's simple. Like he wants to be, given a task to work on, and then that's it. He doesn't want to have to deal with too many variables, things like that. So he's happy to just sort of like fall in line behind whatever's going on. And yeah, that's kind of hard to do. It's kind of hard to have a family work in an organized way if that's the case. So so I had to step in.
After the prayer ceases, Martin looks over to you and, all right, if we're going to make the service, we should probably go. He speaks to his mother in hushed tones in her natural language. She hesitates, but understands, she can do more there at the church praying for her husband than here at his side. So you all begin to prepare to leave. What kind of church do you attend?
Geez, I don't know. Not really too up on actual different
Religions, yeah.
Yeah, like different what denominations. That's the word that I was trying to think of.
Mm-hmm.
So pretty traditional, not overly tyrannical as some might be. So somewhere in the middle.
Okay. So, I mean, in the ethnic borough, there's all types of religions there. You would have a variety of, Christian, Catholic, Jewish. There'd probably be some mosques, things along that nature. But yeah, we don't have to get into specifics. So, is it a large church, small church? Is it?
No, it's pretty small.
Okay. As you begin making your way through the stairs, it appears word has kind of reached your neighbors, and you receive a few, saddened glances, a few, Thomases traveling by.
I hear Thomas.
The glances get sadder and sadder as you walk past.
And
The train's just menacingly following you.
it's just the neighbors are trying to push it through the halls, and but no, they definitely seem to be offering their grief, especially to your mother. A lot of the women come out, kind of give her a hug, and you can tell there's a lot of the community aspect. And as you make your way to the church, whoever the religious head figure is there greeting the congregation, and he steps forward and, again, speaking in the foreign tongue to your mother. They have a brief talk, and they kind of discuss how important religion is right now, faith, that, with the belief. That is how your father's going to reawaken and be just the man he was before. And it seems to help your mom kind of clear up. But you begin to make your way inside for the service. While you're in there, you can't help but to allow your mind to wander. Does Eric find himself to be a religious individual, or is it more he's here because his family's here? It's just something he has to do.
He's religious in the sense that he kind of believes, but not, in the way that, like, a lot of people, I think, just believe, like, oh yeah, this is just the way it is. This is what I grew up with. This is what I know. So it's not like a deep faith that he has, but I mean, it's there nonetheless.
Would his recent awakening change that in any way, or does he feel like the awakening has to do partially with that?
He's not sure what it means, and that's one of the things that's concerning him the most.
Okay.
So he's trying to hang on to some, like, semblance of, normalcy while he's, his eyes are open to this wider, stranger world.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. So as we sit with you and begin the service, the hymns, or whatever the sermon might be for today, let's go ahead and check what Thomas has for us. Go ahead and roll me a d4, please.
This worked out so great for me last
You better get a 3. I don't want to be involved in this. Oh, you bastard.
Mr. William, roll me 2d10.
You shouldn't have spoke up. The
Hey,
dice
he
hurt
said it's
you.
good if there's a good spread. If there's one high, one low, that's good.
That must be nice.
Or at least not awful. So
I'm not bitter.
hey, I haven't gotten targeted by Thomas once in a while. I'm a little concerned. I feel like karma's gonna get even with me hard one day.
Don't
Stay
worry.
tuned.
A meteor just wiped out, my entire district. It's okay.
So, as we fade away from the sound of organ music, and it begins to morph into hymns, but from another church, as we fade on to William and Jillian also sitting in a service on Sunday as well. You attend, it was a Catholic church, correct?
Yeah. Yeah.
So there's a lot of hymns being sung, and Jillian's there, and she's kind of beaming. She's happy. She's pregnant. Her husband's there, and they're doing something normal. So she's very happy. But William, your mind is starting to wander a bit, especially over the past few days. And you're putting pieces of this puzzle together, the puncture wounds on the neck, the scent in the cistern. It's all clear that whatever this beast or person was, they have similar qualities to what you can do. And because of that, you feel a connection to know potential weaknesses or strengths to them that others may not. So because of Thomas, I'm going to go ahead and give you story tag.
Oh, okay.
And it's gonna be, I feel like in a way, maybe I'll let you name it. You're starting to recognize that out of the crew, it could be your knowledge or abilities that help to destroy this creature or whatever this creature was or wherever this creature came from. So in a way, you're becoming like a hunter or the end for it. So what kind of story tag would you put in there as you receive this knowledge?
I don't know. Maybe something like two of a kind, you know?
I like it. Yeah. So as you sit there and you kind of ponder what clues you've received and the information that you've been able to understand, you start to recognize your abilities may not be as outdated as you thought they might be. And as we fade away from the sounds of that church, we come across Georgie. Now, Georgie, is the Huntsman open on Sundays? Are you still working on the weekends, or is it closed and you're off doing your own thing?
I want to say it's closed. Most of the staff go for like a morning church service if they can, but usually Sundays is like the day off for everyone.
Okay. So where would we find Georgie in the morning on Sunday?
She would probably catch the earliest, shortest sermon she can.
Okay.
Because she just kind of goes because like the other girls go. She doesn't really like it doesn't really move her to like any particular faith of her own. Other than that, she would probably run whatever errands she has about town.
So it's entirely possible, because you both live within the blue collar district, that you might actually attend the same church. Depending if you're the same, follow the same religion. Yeah, do you feel like you would be one of the folks who kind of stands in the back, like specifically knows when the sermon's about to start, and avoids the hymns and all of that kind of stuff, just to get the bits that you want and then sneak out when you're done with it? Or would you try to find an actual service that is just shorter in length?
Yeah, she would, because she wouldn't just go, she wouldn't sneak in, like she would go in with like the rest of the girls that stay at the boarding house with her, who are also some of her workmates. honestly, if none of them went, she wouldn't have gone either. But I don't think it would be Catholic. I mean, it could be, but I don't think that's predominant around Victorian time, is it?
Um,
Catholicism was the premier thing.
But
Catholicism in the Church of England.
lots of Irish Catholics, where I would go probably.
But there's also Protestantism and a few others.
Yeah. Yeah, because I know they like kind of waffle back and forth between what's popular or, what's acceptable. Okay, so yeah, whatever the popular flavor of the time is.
Okay. As everyone is working to obviously, go to the church and have their daily chores done, what would the three of you have planned for the day? Are you planning to meet back at the pit to discuss your plan? Would you have discussed to meet at a specific place later in the day? What would be the next step of your investigation, just for the three of you?
Yeah, can we not meet at the pit? I mean, Mike's busy doing whatever Mike's doing. Can we not go where it smells? We have an office, but I don't know.
Yeah, we could always go back to a random cafe and keep it different every time. So we can't be tracked or recognized.
Mm-hmm.
I tend to stick out in the crowd.
There's
like
many
6'4".
cafes, throughout. So I guess it would be what district would you plan to meet in?
Let's say downtown, but maybe like further away than the one we were visiting. Maybe closer to the ethnic borough, just because it's further. I don't know.
Absolutely. No problem. And what time would you guys plan to head down there in the afternoon? Something like that?
I don't know. Church probably gets out 11, and then there's lunch or whatever with the family. 2, 3.
Okay, sounds good.
Well, there's the Darkened Stone, which is kind of in the central of downtown. It'd probably be one you're familiar with if you're down there shopping. It's kind of one of the think of it as the Starbucks. It's just there, familiar, busy, always populated. A good place to kind of blend in if that's what you're looking to do. It's nearby a flower shop that a certain previous crew member may have run a scheme at back in the day. So yeah, you guys all plan to head there later in the afternoon. So we'll go ahead and transition back to the Ouster house. Just as the Hogans are beginning to arrive, they arrive kind of with a procession of a few different wagons, probably a total of 10 workers come with them with a variety of seems these large box camera-like devices, many large round they appear to be for you like metal canisters, maybe about 2 inches thick. They have about 6 of them that they're carrying, and then they have this large table. It's probably about 4 foot long and 3 foot wide, and on top of it there's a series of metal spokes and gears and a lever over to the side that seems to be very heavy, that 3 of them have to pick up, and they all begin to just make their way kind of into the house. Your brother's there, and he's trying to stay out of their way. He's smiling, kind of excited that this is the day, this is a continuation. Very excited for it. Nina Hogan sees you, Blanche, and makes her way, and she's definitely not dressed as fine as you are. Attempting to, but you can tell doesn't have as much of the financial resources that your family does. But she sees you kind of standing there, and she comes over and grabs your hand. Oh, Blanche, dear, it is so great to see you. I haven't had a chance to thank you for bringing me home the other night. It was so kind of you.
It's quite all right. It's the least we could do. How are you feeling?
Oh, quite well, quite well. Everything has been just been beautiful. Those flowers as well. I can't believe they're still seeming to grow. I don't know what special skills you have with your plants, but they are lovely, a lovely arrangement. Is there anything I might be able to help you with? I know we have a bit of time to ourselves, but if there's any task, I'd be happy to assist.
You know, I don't really think there's much left to do. I've been, admittedly, a bit harsh with the staff lately, making sure everything's getting done on time. But if you're feeling peckish, we do have some finger foods I squirreled away on the side in case people got hungry before guests started to arrive.
Oh, of course. And she kind of looks around. It looks like you've got everything just wonderful. Have you had a chance to see any of your brother's work?
I have heard a lot about it, but no, I haven't had a chance to see anything yet.
Oh, well,
I'm quite looking forward to it. He's been very, very proud.
You must. Come. She kind of grabs your hand and begins to lead you towards the darkened kind of parlor room.
I will follow.
She gets in there. You can see two of the workers in the process of setting the table off to one side. They have a projector-like device that's attached to the end of it that they are in the process of just positioning so that it faces towards the white canvas. A few other workers are setting up a few of the box-style cameras up against the other wall, and they appear to be setting them up with like the side door opened, almost like a display for people to be able to actually see inside. But as Nina approaches, she goes over to the two workers. You two, quickly, let's pull the reel out from last Tuesday night. Yes, I believe it was the 3-minute production. She looks as they start kind of rifling through the tins. Yes, that one there, yes. How soon can you have that prepared? Kind of respond, probably 5 minutes, Miss Hogan. Let's make it 3, boys. All right, very good. How about we go and grab a drink first, and we'll allow them a bit of time to get things set up.
Of course.
She begins to follow your lead to the drinks, and as you pass by the front door again, you can see that Elijah and Tobias Hogan are having a conversation. Tobias, even though Elijah's a bit taller than him, has his arm up around his shoulder, very much kind of like a buddy, staring out to the horizon, just having a conversation. Every once in a while, he'll kind of point towards the wagons or do the, hand across the horizon about all the things to come. And you can tell he's being very grand in gesture. You go and you grab a drink, and as you begin to return to the parlor room, you notice that the room has changed kind of from the orange glow of the lantern to a more gray, dull kind of flickering light. And as you enter into the doorway, you can see up against the screen, it's now kind of flickering. There's small dots and lines that are kind of flickering around on the screen. As Nina kind of looks over to the workers, she just gives a simple nod, and you start to hear the sound of reel and film, the sound. And after a few moments, you see these pictures begin to move, and you see your brother is standing. It appears to be in a room of some sort. There's a long curved couch. Behind it, there's a curtain up against the wall, and he's laying there in a very draw me like your French girls kind of way. That's the only way I can think of describing the posture. But he has his head on his hand, and he's laying there. He has no shirt on, and he's just smiling towards the camera. After a few moments, a woman appears walking across the film. She's wearing a very revealing a white kind of nightgown, and she has a golden halo, or what you would think is golden, but she has a halo around her head, and she is carrying a platter of grapes, and she walks across on her tiptoes and holds one grape, and as she does, your brother leans his head back and opens his mouth wide as she drops a grape in, and he smiles once more and kind of blinks his eyes seductively towards the camera. And you see this a few more times before it shuts off, and Nina immediately looks over to you with this large grin. It's amazing, isn't it? It's as if they're here doing it now.
Impressive. It's quite impressive. Blanche is kind of grappling with the fact that she just had to see her brother like that.
Mm-hmm.
But doing that bred nobility masterful mask face, like I am politely interested and no more, like, kind of thing.
It definitely is not something you've been to your parents' parties before, and you may have overheard
something that would be appropriate.
Yeah, you may have overheard like parties like that occurring, but never anything, that's still stuff done in the back rooms of the back places. What would you have concerns about this?
Oh yes. Not gonna bring it up to Miss Hogan, though. That's something I would need to talk to my brother about. Like, videos like that probably shouldn't be shown to the guests, because these are people we need to impress, and that's positively scandalous.
She sets her drink down and goes over to the films. Your brother, he's been just the perfect blank canvas, as it were. Anything Tobias asks of him, he gets it done with the true quality of an artist. He could easily be in theater. He absolutely the face of this magnificent machine. I know that we'll have great luck and great success here, but you should come. You should have some of these reels done of you as well. You have such the... Oh, you would be a beauty on here. You would stand out. I know we could certainly sell a few more cameras if we had your pretty face on there as well.
Well, I appreciate the offer, but I don't generally like to involve myself in my brother's business proceedings. May I ask you a question, though?
Oh, of course.
How many of the videos that you brought today have my brother in various states of undress?
Oh. She begins to kind of scratch her chin a bit, and he is often without shirt. Tobias, he has a peculiar Greek mind when it comes to these films.
Ah, of course.
Is that a problem?
I'm primarily concerned about the guests. We have some who are of rather high standing who I'm not sure would approve of seeing film of people walking around without shirts on, or women being quite so exposed.
Of course. Yes, I am so sorry. I'm afraid.
I know it's quite all right. No harm done yet, as long as we can stick to the more modest films.
Absolutely. I believe. Yes, the first film. Yes, that will be fine. She kind of goes over, and there's a small clipboard with a few. Let's not use this one. No, that one. You there, go and fetch Tobias. I think you should be aware of this as well. And the worker just kind of nods and heads out. This one will be fine. She begins process of making checks and crosses down the list of acceptable film. After a few moments, Tobias enters and kind of sees everything. Oh, what's going on in here? Doing a bit of preview for Blanche, are you, dear? She kind of. Yes. Tobias looks to you. Blanche, you are looking beautiful. It is so gracious for you to allow us to use your home once more.
Oh, of course. And thank you very much for the compliment. I did get to preview some of your work, and it is impressive, to say the very least. You've come quite a ways since just the first video I saw. Picture I saw. I do have a bit of a concern, though, as to some of the content of your films. Regarding some of the guests that we have more conservative mindsets.
Kind of looks. I see.
Even religious ones, if you would. I simply don't want to scandalize anyone.
Of course not. No, that's completely understandable. Elijah, what do you think? Elijah kind of looks. You know, I think it might be time for people to widen their taste a bit, sister. Sometimes we need to release from these stiff necks. There's nothing wrong on those films. It's a piece of art. You walk to the museum, and what do you see? Men and women of all shapes and sizes. Near nude, in most cases. We consider that art? Why is this not art? Because I'm still living?
May I speak with you in private, brother?
All right. Tobias, there's drinks in the lobby. Go and serve yourself as you need. I'll return in a moment. Walks over, kind of a bit of a huff. What is it?
Many of the people that you've called here were friends and business relations of our parents. I'm not sure that it's appropriate. If you want their money and you want their support, it would be wise not to scandalize them.
I understand. I get it. I get it.
I do not dislike anything that you've done. I'm simply worried about the optics, if you will.
All right. He has other pieces of work that will be fine, proper as they were, but I think it's important for them to see the full potential, that this is more than moving pictures. This is a new way to tell stories.
I agree. I don't see why that can't be done without half-naked women.
Of course, yes. There
Many
are
of
quite
these
a
people
few
will
of
be
those.
coming from. Many of these people will be coming from church.
All right. Well, we'll start them off easy. Maybe get a few drinks in their bellies, and then maybe go from there. See if we can't loosen those collars a bit. And don't worry, sis. I understand your concerns. We'll keep it calm. We'll keep it clean.
I am quite proud of you.
Oh, I appreciate that. And look, I as I said before, we're gonna get you there. We'll take you to the studio. It's to see how this is done. Huh. You may have seen artists paint. It is nothing like this. It's just magic.
It certainly seems to be.
Well, we should probably be getting ready. I believe the guests should be arriving at any time.
Yes, I think you'll need a new coat. You've got something on your lapel.
Kind of looks. I knew I shouldn't have had that extra. Let me go and fetch one. He begins to go away. As he removes his jacket, you notice a letter kind of falls and skirts across the floor.
Does he seem to notice it?
He doesn't. It looks like he just pulled off his jacket, and as he was like quickly pulling off his jacket to go fetch another, it just fell out.
I will wait for him to pass out of sight, and then I'll pick the letter up and tuck it into my skirt.
It looks like it's been opened, and as you do, it just kind of ruffles in there. Do you look at like the name?
Yeah, no, then I'm gonna glance at it, yeah.
It appears to be a letter of notice from a bank.
Okay.
Opening the letter, it mentions a very large sum of money being withdrawn, and the third payment has now been missed.
Dun dun dun.
I see. Yeah, I'm gonna fold it, tuck it back into my skirt. At some point, I will find my way to his office and drop it on his desk. Make it look like he just left it there and forgot.
As you drop it on his desk, you notice that there's a few other envelopes that have past due notices, things of the sort, kind of late statements as they were. But you put it there on the desk and head back just as the first cart begins to arrive. You would recognize this as Dr. Alois Anschutz and his wife. They arrive on a dark, like a dark wood, single wheel cab, a large Clydesdale out front. As they step out, the doctor is wearing a dark blue, long, tailored suit, long tails at the back, a felt top hat. He has a very thin pencil-like mustache that kind of comes down and curls. His wife seems to be maybe 18, 19 years old as well. She is very, very thin. She's wearing a multicolored, almost red and pink dress. Looks very much emblems of roses and all that all along it. And as she steps out, she's maybe a good 6 or 7 inches shorter than her husband. As they begin to walk down the path, you see them both look at the house and kind of smile and nod. As they get to the door, your main butler or whoever takes the jackets kind of welcomes them and begins to show them to wherever you had specifically said this is where the guests go at the beginning. This is kind of the plan. They go to drinks, they go to food, whatever the case might be. Do you go to greet the guests, or do you wait for everyone to arrive?
No, I'm gonna wait for everybody to arrive. Make a grand entrance.
After a few more minutes, you see them head over to, gather some champagne and begin to converse between themselves about the various art pieces that you have throughout your house and, the things that the wealthy speak on. Another cart. This one is drawn by 2 white horses. It's a covered cart, but it's not fully contained. And stepping out is the banker, Brinley Rosenthal, and his wife. He has the suit of a wealthy working man, not wealth beyond wealth, but definitely higher upper class. He has a bit of a belly, and you can see a large gold chain that hangs to what you would assume to be a pocket watch. As he helps his wife come out, she has the most golden hair you've ever seen, and it's all flowing down in front of her, both on parted kind of in the back and then down her shoulders, down her chest. She is almost overdone with makeup. A bit too much blush on her cheeks makes her appear to be very painted on. Very flushed. And then finally arriving on very much a lower tier kind of cab. The driver doesn't even have a suit on. You have the factory owner, Gordon Lowry, and his wife. This is the oldest of the group, probably in his 80s, definitely needing help down. His wife is around the same age, and they just seem to be well worked. He's wearing a gray pin suit, and his wife is wearing a standard kind of dark purplish kind of dress. They're both very wrinkled, but he still appears to be quite strong, and you notice he has quite large hands. And as they all begin to meet and shake hands, they seem to be familiar with each other and understand kind of where each other comes from. A few more minutes pass as you wait for the final guest to arrive. And you start to look around. You see, kind of peeking into where they're drinking, that people are starting to get a bit uncomfortable. At one point, Nina Hogan comes in to speak with the guests and kind of talk with the wives and, kind of maybe pull them aside to allow the men to talk. When you hear the whinny of a horse, and you kind of look out one of your front windows, and you see a large, dark brown, looks like a war horse that has its hair all braided with large red bows all through it, trotting with high kicks down your drive. On top of it is a man wearing a dress suit of high quality, of nobility. He even carries a sword to one side. He is very, very large. You question how this horse might be able to hold him. And as he gets to the front gate, he kicks the horse in his side, and it rises up with this loud bellow, and he just chuckles as the staff that's out front jump at this loud sound, kind of look towards him, and immediately kind of bow their head in recognition of nobility. He lumbers down from his steed, almost slipping from the saddle, but holding himself. And as he gets down, you see he's not as tall as you may have thought he was up on that great big horse. He adjusts his belt and pulls his outfit nice and straight. And your brother rushes past you to go and greet him. As Elijah gets close, he again nods his head, kind of bows down to respect this baronet that has appeared.
I am right behind him and curtsying.
Sir James looks at both of you and gives you a bit of a stern glance at first. Who are you two, and what have you done with the Astor children? You two have grown to be some of the most beautiful people I've seen. Come, give Sir James a hug.
Blanche will blanch, but yeah, she'll follow directions. He's too important to tell no.
He grabs both of you and just squeezes. Oh, my dears, my darlings, what have you been eating? It has no way to be this long since I've seen your faces. Ah, dear Blanche, child, you look just like your mother. She was quite a beauty herself. Darling, how are you?
Quite well. It would seem time has been kind to us both.
Oh, it has indeed. And Elijah, and he slaps your brother on his shoulder. Boy, you have gotten quite strong. Tell me, are you fighting? You keeping your wits about you? Brother's kind of like, yeah. Absolutely, Sir James. I'm so happy that you've come. I can't wait to show you what we have in store. Of course, lead the way, but first, we must eat. It is time for us to break bread. It's been too long.
Right this way, gentlemen.
As you begin to make your way in, you notice this cart racing past the side with your driver and your worker or your servants kind of sitting in the back just trying to hold these boxes without falling over because they're going so fast. And you make eye contact for a moment and she's kind of saying, yes, I'm almost there. You just kind of see them fly around the house to go in the back. As Sir James walks in, the rest of the group that had entered kind of look and recognize, and they kind of try to be the first one there to shake hands with this individual. He kind of ignores them and continues to just follow you towards the food. That is his most important thought at the moment.
Well, we have spares in the kitchen for just this issue. So yeah, she'll lead him over to where the food is and point out what she thinks she remembers was one of his favorites. I mean, it's been a long time, so it may not be exactly right, but close.
You kind of show him to where you have your beautiful china and all of that laid out for individuals to serve themselves. He ignores that and just grabs a platter, one of the silver serving platters, and kind of throws whatever's off of it and begins going around grabbing just handfuls of anything he can. He doesn't seem to care. He grabs a napkin, grabs 2 or 3 bottles or glasses of champagne, kind of looks around. You've done well. Yes, please. Let us begin. I can't wait to hear what the Astor children have been up to. I always knew there was a spark about you two. And
Well, we had wonderful examples to follow, didn't we, brother? She's clearly with saying it without saying it that he's one of the examples.
Absolutely. Absolutely, Blanche. Sir James, please allow me to introduce you to our guests. We have Dr. Alois Anschatz from the Royal Hospital. We have Banker Brinley Rosenthal. And we have Mr. Gordon Laurie. You might recognize his factory. He is the main wheelsman for the train yards. Sir James just kind of recognizes them while continuing to shove his face. And over here we have my good friend and partner, Tobias Hogan. He is the inventor of this machine we are showing you today, and I would love for you to ask him any questions you wish. Sir James kind of recognizes, and we kind of see the crowd look a bit concerned that they seem to be ignored by the royalty, but still accepting, there might be some upset feelings at the moment.
I'd be doing what I can to soothe bruised egos,
Okay.
Kind of bouncing between trying to keep royalty happy and play gracious hostess to everybody at the same time.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you make sure that all of the men have drinks. You've offered them all food. You've introduced yourself to the women. Had a few of your polite conversations with them just to make sure they know that you're there. Nina seems to be doing kind of a very similar thing that you are, even though it's not her house, making sure that everybody seems to be in order. You tend to the servants a bit more, obviously, just to make sure that everybody's doing what they want to. And for the first little bit, it's kind of allow each other to meet each other. Tobias makes the round, kind of answering questions, and you can tell he's doing a bit of a hype pitch, talking about, have you ever wanted to live forever? I have that opportunity over here, and you can take it home with you today if you wish. So we kind of see that happen for a little bit. Let's go ahead and transition back to our group. So we find ourselves in downtown. Our trio's seated there. Have you all changed clothes, or are you still kind of there in your Sunday best?
I'm still in the Sunday best.
Yeah. It's just throwing a cloak over myself, so it's covered.
Mm-hmm.
I always dress fancy. My fancy's, a vest and nice pants, but,
Oh, not a 3-piece?
No, that's for funerals. Gotta respect the dead.
You all have your various drinks, kind of just sitting there. On the table, you have the page from the notebook that indicated the last fight and the name of the person he was going to fight. And you also have the flyer to the bar. So what are you all talking about?
Good question.
Yeah, what's the next step?
Right. So,
Because
yeah, out of character wise, like, we don't know.
yeah, I mean,
Okay.
as I recall, the situation was we found what was probably some kind of vampire demon thing in
Yeah.
the sewage, and it was poisoning a district, and we got rid of that, and we're supposed to get to the bottom of more of that sort of thing.
So basically, the letter had said, find out what this was, and basically advise the order on whatever you find out. So you were able to go to the Golden Oasis and found out that this person was a gambler and that he hasn't been around for a little bit. You then went to his house, where you figured out that this person had been a fighter for a while, made a lot of money, and then killed his wife in a very vicious way. Kind of went a bit feral, which is what the creature in the cistern, the stone creature, kind of called it. So at this point, it would be up to you on where you want to continue it, whether you are going to investigate more onto who the person was, or trying to figure out exactly what this thing was, and again, what might need to be done about it.
Well, we get a pretty good description of it from the Talking to the Dead, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
So maybe that's something that we can do. I don't know what other information we're going to actually be able to get on the thing itself. We can dig into his life, but I mean, if what William said is right, then this wasn't something that was inflicted on him. It just sort of happened one day.
I mean, we know sort of where it went, out into the woods. We could always explore the woods.
Okay.
We could.
So basically, are we at some sort of
An impact.
do we put two and two together that what ran off into the woods, is that the same as the body in the sewers? Like, do we know for sure, or are we just speculating that it is or it's not?
Unfortunately, without the body itself, it may not be easy, but you did find the wallet and the Golden Oasis token in the same place as
On the
body
body.
was. Basically, where the
Okay.
body was dissolved. Yeah.
We can assume.
That's what it was. Okay.
William also has information on other things beyond this case.
Yeah.
Do
somewhere.
share.
Do I? I do, probably.
Oh yeah. Spill them beans.
Like how Stilts just says, I have information, and then...
Regarding certain children.
No, the missing vampire children who were who tried to murder me? Is that that one?
Oh boy. So
Are we
William,
talking
just the other night, you came across a boy that didn't
Yeah,
talk to you that you gave to the police.
Yeah, the stabbing one. That's what I was trying to get to. I was just words. He tried to stab me with a stake. Yeah, the kid hiding in the library. I'm sure this all sounds better when William actually says it. So.
All right. And William's impersonation.
I thought I wrote some stuff down. It was in here. Yeah, the little 11-year-old kid. Tried to stab me with a broomstick. Kind of went slightly mute. I don't know if children can go feral. I don't know how that works.
Oh.
I assume.
So, about a week ago, a news report came out that children from the school that William teaches at had gone missing. They all have returned home based off of what information William had been able to receive. But then he came across Aaron Barak in the library wearing a helmet made up like pans and not speaking and seeming to want to use this broom as like a gun or something like that to keep back William. But obviously he had no intention to hurt him. So William was able to take him to the police constable outside, who then took him to the Kingswood Route station.
Right. Yeah. That. Yeah.
He
I didn't
also
think to check out at
located
the time.
a sketching that he had seen once before. There was another kid in his class that had begun to, who also didn't seem to speak, but was quite smart and a good student, that began to draw a tall, dark man in the woods. And he found a similar sketch in the library.
I wrote that kid's name.
Jathar.
down. Yeah.
Okay. So something about these kids, the woods, vampires.
Yeah, isn't our life great?
Seems like we're being pulled into your life, but you know.
Yeah, isn't my life great?
It's just peachy, isn't it? Let's see. School is still out of session.
It is, yeah.
Okay.
So basically, I would say these are kind of the routes you can go.
Yeah.
You can go and try to find the person that Nadiv was last to fight to see if he might have any information to confirm, if Nadiv was the person in the body or in the well or anything like that, if you needed to confirm that. If you wanted to figure out maybe why Nadiv was the way Nadiv was, you could try to investigate that, investigate the woods, investigate the bar, or you can go and try to see if there's anything to do with the kids, or there's a few different directions to go. Basically, again, the Order wants as much information as you can get. So if you feel confident that you have as much information, then maybe it might be interesting to see what kind of report you would send to the Order based off of the investigation so far, and what they might reply with.
So the body... Oh, sorry.
Go ahead.
So the body that was in the sewer, did it look anything like what Blanche described, or
it did?
Was it just too far gone?
One thing you notice is that the skin seemed to be really, really pale and pink, almost like bubble gum, and it just looked misshapen, kind of twisted and elongated in strange ways.
Okay. I mean, I kind of feel like maybe the woods might be a place to go. Find the direction he was going in, see if there's anything out there, because it was still, I think, even a week before he ended up in the well that he ran off, if I remember right.
Mm-hmm.
So he had a week that we don't really know about.
So it was about 2 weeks that it seems, or not, about 10 days since he disappeared into the woods, and then the fight date, the last thing you had listed there, was about a week ago. So that note of that fight would have taken place after he fled into the woods, if it did take place.
Okay. Well, then that's something we can check out as well. See if the fight ever actually happened, and if not, see what happened when he ran off into the woods.
So do we check the fight first and then triangulate from there?
Yeah, I think that might be the thing to do.
Okay.
Okay. So the fight took place in the West Slums. You all are aware that certain individuals of the West Slums don't necessarily want you coming back there. Would you
Yeah.
take any precautions?
Try to disguise us. I don't really have magic to speak of, but
I dress in a clown costume. Nobody expects
that
a clown.
is very inconspicuous, and surely no one will question it.
Nobody questions the clown. Everybody's afraid of them. It's okay.
That's a fair point.
Well, I guess
actually.
let me ask you this. Would you be taking precautions before you headed to the West Slums, or would you head to the West Slums first, try to take a look around, and then go from there?
No, I definitely want to be at least disguised, so that it's not
Yeah.
just hey, those people that we hate from like, a few days ago. Let's kick their asses. I kind of want to look something different, a little different.
So we don't have
I mean-
magic, but I've got access to a theater department, I assume.
Perfect. I've got a little bit of stage experience that might help.
Okay.
Right.
I would say then, as you all head over to the private school, it sounds like it would probably be a change the game role from Eric, since he's kind of the eye for the disguise, with a help from William.
Sure.
So yeah, for William,
I
we'll
don't-
say we'll just say that's the story tag of theater department, because you have access to
Okay.
it. So yeah, as you head over, kind of begin your disguises, go ahead and do a change the game roll to see the quality of disguises.
All right. So we've got lies, 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 the art of deception, and elaborate planner. Those are all 3 perfectly decent tags for this.
Okay.
And then a help point, so +4.
And a help point, which is super nice. All right, let's see what happens. Change the game?
Change the game. Perfect.
Nice.
So we'll have to use spend one of those just to scale up the effect.
Okay.
So then, I guess, what kind of disguises are you creating? Like, what exactly are you doing? Getting wigs? Are you just changing the outfit?
Yeah, I mean, there's gonna be some wigs and different like even lower class. Clothing. I mean, I can't speak for anybody else here, but Eric's not exactly a high roller.
Mhm.
But we're looking for something that would fit into the slums.
Okay.
Maybe some wigs that are not perfectly groomed. Kind of a little bit wild, but not just more like
Unkempt.
yeah. Unkempt is what I was trying to think of.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got some unkempt hair, some like patchy clothes.
Old clothes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Few
You
hoods.
hit the donation bin.
A little bit of grease paint.
All right. So yeah, go ahead and give each of you a disguised 3 status.
Sweet.
Hey, we're disguised.
Sorry, Blanche, but today you're not needed for this.
Hey, that's a comfort, because every time I leave the party behind or alone, usually they screw something up. So
Okay, so
The day is young.
I don't have this anymore, and I don't have this anymore. I don't have the
This is-
pocket full of tokens still, do I? I gave
You
those.
still
Yeah.
do. It's still.
I know I have at least one of them.
Oh no, you don't have the pocket
I gave
full of
those.
tokens. Yeah,
I gave
they're-
those to the thing.
But they're technically, you still have them. They're just at the casino still. So you
Okay.
would still be able to go and get them there. So maybe add a little note like in casino.
Yeah. And I'm
Same thing with the
now-
bucket full of tokens for you, Eric. It's just you have it, just not with
Yeah.
Do I have any more points into loving
Thinking about
life?
collecting on that.
you. You still do. She doesn't not love you. There's still love in that relationship.
Well, I just suffered through church, so
It's true.
They probably burned me on
how to kill these rage beasts that
Well, it burned my soul, you know. Holy relics aren't exactly the best thing for me, so there's a whole reason I hate church. Just sitting there squirming the whole time. Ah, it burns.
So as you all begin to kind of get yourselves all dressed, you get a cart and begin to make your way to the west slums. You pass through the streets and you notice it's starting to get a bit cloudy. It hasn't started to rain or anything yet, but it's definitely starting to cool down as we get more into the afternoon hours. As you get closer to the west slums, kind of passing through the edge of the old boroughs, you start to hear a lot of just violence occurring in the distance. The sounds of rifle shots going off, pistol shots. There's every once in a while a cry or guttural scream. As you get maybe a block or so away, you notice that the main road is blocked off. There's a large cart stationed there, and on either side of it there are two constables that have their backs against the cart, and every once in a while just look back behind them into the west slums, and they both have pistols raised, and they're just kind of down there watching behind them but not making any action, just leaning there. As your cab driver gets closer, he kind of stops again, half block away, maybe 2 or 3 buildings away. I'm sorry, this looks to be as far as I can take you.
That's fine, we can walk.
Guess it'll do.
Yeah.
Do you want me to try the other side? It'll cost you a bit more, but I could try to head over the bridge from the ethnic borough. Take a bit more time.
This is probably fine.
Yeah, this is fine.
All right. Well, if you're headed home, be careful, I guess.
Thanks. You too.
Looking,
I'll tip my wig to him.
kind of looks at you with a slight eye. Looking past, you see there's a bit of fog that's kind of growing within the west slum, so it's kind of hard to see too well. You don't see much movement, but you still hear the loud pops every couple of minutes. The constables don't seem to be paying anyone on your side, from the old borough side, any attention at the moment, but every time a gun goes off, you can tell they both kind of flinch and look back to make sure that wasn't at them, and then go back. As you kind of walk a little bit closer, you notice that their horses have been tied up over kind of down in an alley behind a few stone wall buildings. What would the three of you be looking for, wanting to do, wanting to see as you approach?
Well, we want to. Do we have an idea where this bar is?
Are you going to the fight? The last place
Yeah.
you fought? So it wasn't a bar, it was just a location
sorry.
given in the West Slums. So yeah, you were given the name Arnold Tholman. And there was a wager of 15 pounds listed on there, which you would recognize as quite a lot of money and very peculiar for the West Slums. But it
It's a
has
lot of
his
money.
address, and you may have recognized that this address seemed to be fairly close to that
Wait, 15 or 50?
15, 1-5.
Okay, I wrote it down wrong. There we go. Okay.
His address was kind of in between where the well you were at and another well. But having looked at kind of the diagrams, again, the blueprints of the cisterns of the West Slums, you would know where his location is. It's just kind of towards the middle of the West Slums.
Well, I guess
Okay.
we just kind of head towards the middle.
Yeah, and so the location of the fight was someplace. Was the bar where the fights got set up, or am I just completely misremembering things?
The bar is just coming from a flyer that was in the suitcase with all the money.
Okay.
Along
Got
with this
it.
notebook. So it's
Okay.
unclear exactly what that has to do with anything other than it was just locked away.
Okay. Yeah. Then I guess we head towards the center, like Spoon said.
So as you begin getting close to the main walkway, the constable kind of sees you. Stop! You can't go in right now. We're trying to get as many people out as we can. It's full fucking chaos in there. Are you from the West Slums?
Yeah.
All right,
We had some belongings
Yeah.
we
Do
needed
you
to get.
have family in there?
Yes.
What building? Give me your address. I have men in there right now trying to get people out. You give me their address, I'll make sure that they get them out.
Your
Give
men
him the
need
address.
to. Your men need to make sure that they're protecting the people on the streets here. We can just go. We can
No,
get.
I'm afraid I have
relatives and
orders. I
neighbors.
cannot allow anyone into the West Slums right now. I promise you, give me their address. We'll do everything we can to get your family out.
I will give him some made-up address. Well, not made up, but like if there was address or block numbers or anything like that in the blueprints that we looked at,
Mhm.
I would give him like the tenement on the corner of blah blah.
Mhm. He pulls a whistle out and blows it real fast and kind of watches you, listens. Here's another one of those pops, and like you all kind of flinch at a moment. I don't think many of you are familiar with the sounds of guns being fired near you. Not sure though. Maybe you all live in.
I mean, one of us is.
One of you are.
Yeah.
But
One of us has been shot at a few times.
What I'm going to be trying to do as much as I can is wait for an opportunity for us to just slip away from this dude while he's like whistling, or when the next time like gunshots go off and he gets startled.
Okay.
Gonna kind of give a signal to the other two for us to scoot.
Back away.
I just like up an alley or however we can get out of this guy's line of sight.
All right. Yeah, you definitely know that there are a few walls you might be able to scale that are kind of off on either direction just to get back behind a few of the buildings and kind of off the main road, just in the back alleys and all of that. So after he's done whistling, you start to hear someone running, and after a couple minutes, another constable kind of shows up, and the one that was speaking to you goes to speak with him. So you have a moment to kind of get up and over the wall and away while the other one is still facing the other way.
Cool.
So,
Yeah, I signal.
yeah, as three of you head over, I'm going to have you all sneak around.
Oh. Yes, sneaking. It is what my big brain was built for. Sure. I mean, technically, also I could probably do it, but oh, hey, look, there you go. So we're gonna use this, and we're gonna use that, and we're gonna use that.
I did not apply any tags.
And I'm also gonna use my disguise status. Wow, so that gives me a
How
6.
is your wig and clothing going to give you the ability to sneak past the constable up over
Oops.
a wall?
Oh, I'm going. I thought we were going around the wall. Sorry.
No, you're basically using the distraction of this other constable coming to take the address and run back away to get up and over the wall and kind of out of their sight line.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Why'd you roll twice?
Because I didn't apply any of the tags. And wow. Cool.
Yeah, you probably should have done that. Congratulations.
Okay.
And then I'm gonna use So yeah, and then we're gonna use Yeah. So sneak around. Sneak around.
Okay.
I was looking at tags,
Mhm.
so I guess I have a few, and now I have to decide whether weakness would be fun or not. Yeah, you know what?
None of mine actually apply right now.
This might be a fear of exposure as a weakness tag.
All right.
More. Ooh. The more I stare at this, the more I want to know where I got the hurt point from Eric.
So here's
I can't remember.
what happens. This other constable runs up and they begin talking about the address that they're going to go save your family. William, you're a bit quicker than the rest, so you climb up this maybe only 7 foot tall wall. It's not that big. Just kind of leap up and over, and you're gone. Eric, you get over there and you start to help Georgie up and over. And Georgie, just as you get up and over the wall, another shot clangs out. And you look up just as a body falls off the roof of the building
Oh,
that you were
Jesus.
just climbing off of.
Uh-huh.
And it begins falling towards you. I need you to face danger to get out of the way or receive a concussed 2 status, because it's falling from about 3 stories up there.
You're gonna get hit with a corpse. Jesus.
Wow. Not just anything. A corpse. Alright,
A
alright.
fresh corpse.
Alright, since I see it, have that. Have that. Okay.
Hey.
Oh, Jesus.
Wow.
Oh.
Okay.
So you step back as this body lands with a thud, and as the body lands, Eric, you're up at the top of the wall and you drop down. Just as you do, you see the flash of what you would assume to be a lens, as whoever just shot this person seems to have noticed you, Eric, land back where that body was.
Shit. Okay.
Eric, please.
I think what we should do real quick is take a quick break so I can drop a little fun map.
Oh boy.
And we'll come back. We're gonna watch some movies with Blanche and her party goers.
Yeah, we're gonna have a nice, easy time.
Yeah.
Battle match.
Watch some porno, and it'll be great.
Oh, God. Porno of her brother.
Oh boy,
So gross.
it's gonna get steamy.
Oh, this is also very awkward. Poor Blanche is just like, what made you think that these were a good idea? I know I said Greek, but I didn't mean naked.
Blanche would prefer to be being shot at right now instead of.
I mean, maybe.
I'll be right back.
Yep.
I will be right back as well.
Same.